Hello friends, today I finally make my router table wing extension and fence add-on for my Ridgid R4512 tabletop. I've been waiting to do this for a couple years. Although I'm working on a Ridgid, the principles should apply to most other table saws. Here we go. I got these 2/4 sheets from my local big box store. This is 3/4 MDF and this is like 1/4 just white coated hardboard. I'm going to eventually put these two together using contact cement, but this is way too big for the hole that it's going to go into. My wing is, I only need about 14 inches in this direction and 27 inches in this direction. So first I'm going to take the 3/4 MDF to the table saw and cut off a couple strips of 3 and 4 inches. Those are going to serve as the fence attachment, which we'll see later on. And then I'll chop it to probably 29 inches, give myself a little bit of wiggle room on both of these, and then we can actually use the contact cement. And honestly, I think that's the part of this whole project that will take the longest. You know, you want to give your contact cement 20 minutes or so to dry on both sides before you put it together and press it down. Our fence assembly is nice and straightforward and basic. We've got two pieces here that are pretty much the same level height as the top of the fence. We've got two pieces that are 3/4 longer than that. So on this side where my saw blade usually is, that's 3/4 on top. And then I've got another piece that's the exact same width. And you see they kind of make a square like this. So we're going to screw these two together, screw down into those, and then screw over into the top piece. Also, I've got some hex bolts here that are going to go through. So I've got to drill a couple holes on the saw side to fit two of those bolts. Those are going to have just some tightening nuts on the end and some washers. And then on the outmost board here, I'm going to draw in a semicircle opening for where the actual router bit is going to be. That part can slide right on top of there when you need to do cuts that are, you know, a situation where the router bit would go into the fence. Finishing up the fence is the perfect thing to do while you're waiting for your contact cement to dry. I've got it all assembled and I wanted to show you how nicely it slides on. Let's see. There's one hex bolt. And there's the second one. Perfect. I made these quick little knobs here for the nuts for tightening. Makes it a breeze. Once you've got those gently tightened, the fence isn't going anywhere. Alright, now my next steps are to cut two long boards that are real wood, one here, and then some cross support pieces here and here, leaving room for the router and its insert in the middle, and then make the final cuts on the MDF top and affix the hardwood boards to the end and under supports of that. And with that final screw, my tabletop here is on. It is nice and level. I can slide my fence back and forth, and it is exactly how I want it to be. Huh, feels great. So the next step, I've got a router plate that I'm going to mount here. This is a Kreg. I drill my holes for my own router on this. Next, I'm going to trace this around where I ultimately want it to be, and then I'll go ahead and take a router and plunge just below the depth of this from being flush on the top, and yeah, then we attach the router to it. It just comes along step by step. You know, it seems like a big project, but if you tackle it step by step, really it's very, very manageable. Attaching your router to the mount is pretty straightforward. The instructions are in the back of the packaging, and I also found a video on KregTool.com, which I'll link. That was a good walkthrough for me. It's a really straightforward process, and it's very satisfying to drill your own holes. Wow, that was a lot of dust. I took a break just so I could catch my breath, even though I had a good mask on. Anyways, now my next step is to essentially cut out this white part here. I'm going to drill some holes in the corners, cut it out with the jigsaw, and then you'll leave these angle pieces in the corners because the rotor plate has some holes that will be affixing it to the rest of the base. That's why you need a little bit of extra space here. So I'm going to cut this out, drill those holes, put in a series of small leveling screws and then drop the plate in. And there you have it. Just like that, this project is done. And it really was straightforward. Essentially, you're just making a box, cutting a hole, putting the stuff together, and then mounting it to the table saw. I did this over the course of 2 days. You could easily pound it out in a day if you didn't have any distractions and you knew what you were doing. It was fun. I think in the future I will get myself one of those extra safety switches that I'll probably mount over on that side, so you just essentially plug in the cord for the router into that, and then that's got another cord that goes into whatever outlet situation you're using, and you always keep it on, and then you can just turn it on and off. It's kind of a similar situation to the safety on and off switch that I have on my main table saw. That's something I'll probably do. And I also have to figure out a better solution for my drill bits and like tightening wrenches and things. Right now they're in the opposite corner of my workshop where my old smaller router table used to be. So I've got to figure out a new situation for that. I might make some storage actually underneath the table, because this part of the table that's actually made of wood, poplar in this case, I extended it down far enough that I can essentially build any sort of add-on I want underneath this table, and I can screw it into that without having to remove the table. And in the future, if and when this workshop ever gets dust collection, that'll be another project. So I'm really, really pleased. This marks the end of a 3-part spiel with my table saw that I've been doing for the last recent while. I tuned it up, I built this dog hole and vise attachment over here, and then I built the router. All of that's on video. If you haven't seen those, I hope you'll check them out. Thanks a lot for watching. Happy woodworking, and until next time, have a great day. Bye.